Penguin Random House Audio presents I'm Traveling Alone by Samuel Bjork. Read for you by Laura Paton.
Ladybird, ladybird, fly away home. Your house is on fire, and your children are gone. On 28 August 2006, a girl was born at the maternity unit of Ringerike Hospital in Hønefoss. The baby's mother, a 25-year-old nursery school teacher called Katarina Olsen, was a haemophiliac and died during the birth. The midwife and some of the nurses who had been present later described the little girl as exceptionally beautiful. She was quiet and remarkably alert, with a gaze that caused everyone who worked in the ward to develop a very special bond with her. On her admission to the hospital, Katarina Olsen had registered the father as unknown. In the days that followed, the management of Ringerike Hospital, working in collaboration with Ringerike Social Services, tried to track down the child's maternal grandmother, who lived in Bergen. Unaware that her daughter had been pregnant, she arrived at the hospital only to discover that the newborn baby had disappeared from the maternity ward. Ringerike police immediately initiated a major hunt for the child, but without result. 2 months later, a Swedish nurse called Joachim Wiklund was found dead in his studio flat in the centre of Hønefoss. He had hanged himself. A typed note was found on the floor below Wiklund's body, with the wording, "I'm sorry." The baby girl was never found. 1. Chapter 1. Walter Henriksen took a seat at the kitchen table and made a desperate attempt to force down a little of the breakfast his wife had prepared for him. Bacon and eggs, herring, salami and freshly baked bread. A cup of tea brewed from herbs from their very own garden, the one she had always dreamt of having, and which was the reason they had bought this house so far from the centre of Oslo, with Østmarka forest as their nearest neighbour. Here they could pursue healthy interests, go for walks in the forest, grow their own vegetables, pick wild berries and mushrooms, and, not least, offer their dog more freedom. It was a cocker-spaniel Walter Henriksen could not stand the sight of, but he loved his wife, which explained why he had agreed to all of the above. He swallowed a bit of bread with herring and fought a battle with his body, which wanted nothing more than to send the food straight up again. He took a large swig of orange juice and tried to muster a smile, even though his head was throbbing as if someone had clobbered him with a hammer. Last night's office party had not gone according to plan. Yet again he had failed to stay off the booze. The news droned along in the background while Walter tried to read his wife's face, her mood. Whether she had secretly been awake when he had collapsed into bed in the early hours. When that was he did not know, but it had been late, far too late. He did remember taking off his clothes, had a vague memory of his wife being asleep. Thank Christ! He had thought before he had passed out on the too-hard mattress she had insisted they bought because she had started having back problems. Walter coughed lightly, wiped his mouth with a napkin, and patted his stomach to show falsely that he had enjoyed the meal and was now full. "I thought I might take Lady for a walk," he said, with what he hoped resembled a smile. "Oh, all right then," his wife nodded, somewhat surprised at his offer because, although they rarely discussed it, she was perfectly aware that he cared little for their 3-year-old bitch. "Perhaps you could go a bit further than just walking her round the house this time?" He searched for the subtly passive-aggressive tone she often adopted when she was displeased with him, the smile that was not a smile, but rather the complete opposite, but he failed to find either. She seemed content, unaware that anything was amiss. Phew, he had got away with it again. And he promised himself that it was the last time. Healthy living for him from now on. No more office parties. "No, I was thinking of taking her up to Maridalen, perhaps follow the path down to Lake Doe." "That sounds perfect," his wife smiled. She stroked the dog's head, kissed its forehead, and scratched it behind the ear. "You and your dad
Sample complete. Ready to continue?